watch, you guys make it interactive. There's a two-way street to this. It's not just us talking, but it's you guys that make this different. So having that community there and collaborating with those people is equally as valuable.
Yeah, I think that's very true. You guys said great points. I think another thing that's important is it's also good not to force things. Like Periscope, some people love to be in front of the camera, but if you truly don't like being in front of the camera, you don't have to do it. You can just be, and like, I have so many great people on Periscope, like I have Heather and Jellybean, and there's some people that love Periscope, but they love making collages, and they'll take screenshots, and they'll send me the collages, and that's their passion, and that's still part of the community. But you're not in front of the camera, but you're still a huge part of Periscope. Or like, let's say you're a gamer, and you don't, my cousin does it, he's not on Periscope, but he's a gamer, and you just want to show you and giving tips, but you don't have to show your face. But if it's something that you do want to do, and you are nervous, I would say, we're all human, we're all exactly the same, we all have the same insecurities, we all go through like a lot of similar situations, and I think the beauty about Periscope is, if you're walking around in a grocery store, at a mall, whatever, and you look at people, you might make eye contact, but you don't really know them. On Periscope, it's like you're walking in a grocery store, and let's say you turn the person on, and they tell you about their whole day. And that's what's awesome about Periscope. You can jump in, and everybody's so comfortable, or everybody, even if they're not comfortable, it's like you fall in love with people on Periscope. And even if they're not comfortable, you see them uncomfortable, and it makes you fall in love with them because you see their insecurities. And I think that's what's beautiful, and I think that's what connects people, because whenever you're sad or happy, or we're all humans, we all go through the same thing. I've cried on Periscope twice already, and like, things have happened. I mean, we had a Periscope member, shout out to Jake Rogers, I am Holy Owl. He started off, he's in the hospital, and he had a double lung transplant, and so his lungs were failing, but he was always on Periscope. He was a big part of the community, and for months, and from the beginning. And then he gave me, he tweeted me, he personally told me through a message, only had like a week to live, and told me how like Periscope has changed his life, and I couldn't help it. I started crying, and I was a little bit nervous at Periscoping it, but I was like, whatever, like no filter. So the community came together. He changed so many lives. Rest in peace. I have a painting that I was really inspired, so I did a painting for him. 100% of the proceeds are going to his family to help with all the medical bills, and it's just amazing how much community, like, our community, we were mourning over this. I just had somebody actually in the bathroom, and we got emotional, and we cried about it, and we've never met this person in real life. So these are real connections, and I think that's the main thing about Periscope is, if you're nervous, just know that we're all human, and we all go through the same thing, and we're all insecure. There's not one person that's 100% secure of themselves. So just know that and keep that in mind.
So I'd like to offer you an exercise you can do if you'd like, because the subconscious mind can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined. That's why worrying is so detrimental, because those things 9 times out of 10 don't come to fruition, and yet our body is reacting to stress as if it were real. Same thing as when we are expanding out of our comfort zone. So that's where growth takes place. Here we are comfortable in our little life, right? And then when we want to grow, we have to go outside of that comfort zone and feel those butterflies a little bit. But before you know it, the more you do it, that becomes your comfort zone, and you keep expanding out. So what I'd like to suggest, which probably sounds really weird, but there's nothing to lose, you can close your eyes and imagine yourself scoping. And imagine it going really well. And imagine getting lots of hearts. And imagine yourself 10 million hearts on Earth. Oh, that's for you. And just imagine it going really, really well. And I promise you, over time, what happens is your subconscious starts to believe that you've done that it's real, that you've had that experience. And then when you actually go on to scope, you're feeling more comfortable, more confident, because as far as your body and your mind are concerned, you've actually done it before. And you can use the same principle for job interviews, for people with insomnia. Just imagine yourself sleeping really well. I know it sounds like maybe I'm a little bit oversimplifying, but I promise you it really, really works. And I'll do a scope on that later this week if you want to check it out. We can do it together.
I'm down. I'm sharing. What time?
Oh, 12 noon. We'll do it on Friday. Okay. Eastern.
12 noon Friday.
Yeah.
I love that Amanda said you fall in love with these people on Periscope. Did you mean to say that was good, though?
No, I did.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
there's
okay.
I played I played Connect 4 with somebody on the first week, and he was so cute and he was just like awesome. I was like, oh my gosh, you're so awesome, and we still connect. So it's just seeing people vulnerable makes me fall in love with them.
I mean, that's awesome. In fact, seriously, that a relationship like you connected with your boyfriend on Periscope. Did you say that? On Periscope?
No, it wasn't on Periscope.
Okay, that's why
we Periscope like the first meeting that we had.
Okay.
Like we met, I'm like, hey, have you heard this? No, I haven't heard Periscope. I'm like, okay, and then we Periscope it, so people saw like for
That's
the first
cool.
time. Yeah.
That's great. So I think that when it comes to like the whole like, should I do it, finding your voice, what does it mean, the community understand, there's just so many different perspectives and how to look at it. And I try to tell people, like, I think the most effective Periscopes, in my opinion, are the ones that broadcast in 3D. And I like the 3 dimensions of Periscope that I call, I think, your personal dimension. Again, that's you with your grandma, that's you hanging out, that's you chilling. Like, people want to see your personal life. I think Liza even said, like, they don't get to feel that personal part. So when you're hanging with your family, like, the personal dimension, I think, is really, really important. And then the professional dimension, that's whatever your profession, whatever you do in your job. And again, there's not have to be any rhythm to when you do, but if you're at least doing it more. And again, so then it makes you more comfortable because you don't feel like, oh, I have to come in and have my thing all together. But it's just, what does it look like for you to sit on your sofa? And like I tell people all the time, I think that like some people make the biggest mistakes. I mean, we were in New York, but I feel like the Clinton campaign, Hillary Clinton campaign, made a huge mistake with Periscope. They came out and they had like, it was all of their handlers and broadcasts and this and that and showing her basically things that we can see on CNN. They're showing lines, they're showing this, they're showing that. That's not what the people want to see. They want to see the personal, they want to see Bill sitting on the sofa saying, hey, I want y'all to vote for Hillary. But so again, so you have the professional dimension, the personal dimension, and the last dimension, the 3D and 3Ps is the pensive. The pensive dimension is, what are you thinking? What's going through your head? What did you learn today? What are the things that are rolling down? What are these ideas? If you share in those 3 dimensions, I promise you will connect with people. And again, you don't have to overthink it because you can be comfortable because you always think you have a job and, you know what I'm saying, and you have a personal life. Like, if you're a stay-at-home mom, it's the most amazing job, CEO. You're like, just think of those 3 dimensions. And again, don't get caught up in whether you're doing them in some order. Just know that as long as you share in one of those, I think it makes you a lot easier to say, you know what, forget it, start broadcast.
Scott, if I could piggyback off of that, you know, what I think is also great is that this applies for whoever you are, whether you're famous or whether you're the person next door or what have you, or if you're a ruler of a country, whatever the case is, right? Because I know I worked with Juanes, and he is a member of Love Like Nation, which is awesome, and he actually gave me about 6 tickets for me to give away to my community, and gave me his guitar, which was really awesome, and we were all excited, and I went to the concert, and they were like, Juanes said you could do whatever that thing is you do on the live stream. I'm like, oh, okay. So his handler said, you know, feel free to Periscope. So I did. And I did it in very small increments. And we had a little under 1,000 people watch that day, one of the first ones, and it kept building up over the night. The next day I got a text from his publicist and said, what in the world did you do yesterday? We've been getting all these tweets and all these people and people saying they watched it and it was all this engagement. All of a sudden I think Juanes wants to try this Periscope thing. I said, oh, I gave the audience an experience of being there. So I had my I do dance parties, I'm known for those. I had like my mic and I was like at the concert singing Camisa Negra and I was like lip syncing with him and doing the whole thing and just having the best time. And I was like, yeah, I get it, go Juanes, awesome. So they loved it. So what was funny was the publicist thought it was just as easy, and it goes to what you're saying, Scott, for her to just turn on the start broadcast and that everybody was going to come flooding in. So they did that. The handler had the phone. This is on Juanes' verified account. She was in the last row of the theater on the next day, and all they did was leave it there. So you couldn't even really see. You could see a dot, but you don't know if that was actually Juanes or anything. And you could just see people just walking. You saw bums of people, like the rear ends as they're walking by. And people were asking her to interact, or can you raise the camera, lower it? And they didn't. And so she texted me back. She's like, so we tried this Periscope thing and it didn't work. Like, I don't know why it works for you, but it didn't work for us. And I was like, well, you might want to actually have Juanes on there, since it's his account, or maybe he'll let you go on stage because it's his actual account. So I had to work with them, and it was interesting because they tried it again their way for another week, realized that they were getting maybe 100 or 200 people in, finally, they're like, okay, he finally said he keeps watching yours, he saw what it was like, he's gonna do it. He gave them, and I said, have him give him a tour. He went backstage, showed the crew, showed his dressing room. All of a sudden, he was born on Periscope. He had like 20,000 people tuning in. He had a crazy amount of hearts, and he got hooked. And he was like, "Hola, cómo está mi gente? Hello, let me say it in English. Hello." And so like he was going back and forth. And his handlers now are like, "Juanes really loves this." So it was great to see him now take that. And what they realized was people didn't just want the access to an event, they wanted the real person. They wanted the access to someone's soul. So I think that was just a good lesson for all of us.
Yeah, I just have to add one more thing to what Scott said about being personal. I've had so many viewers say, like, I want to scope so bad, but I'm not ready yet. And I just want to lay it out that even though you're watching these broadcasters that like have glamorous lives, like lives that travels all over the world, and like gives me the worst FOMO ever, which is fear of missing out. And but you don't have to live a glamorous life to attract a tribe of your own. Where you can inspire people. Like, since I started Periscope, my community I'm basically showing the back end, the behind the scenes of what it takes to make your dream your reality, the struggle of an entrepreneur. I started off working in social media, and then they were with me when I quit my job. They were with me when I had all these health issues that keep on coming up. This past month, my mom had a horrible cancer scare. They were with me during that time, and then I was moving into an apartment because my parents got divorced, and then my dog passed away on Friday, and then I'm here in New York. So it's like, you don't have to paint this perfect picture to build that community and share your story and be successful on Periscope. My community has been through it all, and I'm so grateful for them because, you know, they pray for me, they send me good vibes, and I'm still able to wake up every morning and do my morning motivation. And my community knows, like, Alexa, you're not that energetic this morning. And they'll understand. I'm not going to be fake, but I can still inspire people through what I'm going through and not try to paint this perfect picture like television where everything's like amazing in my life. Like, I'm not going to do that on Periscope. And I want you guys to know that you don't have to have perfect lives to be really successful and make a difference.
To add one more thing to what Liza had said before about how it doesn't need to be your face, I remember reading an article when Periscope first came out. I retroactively searched for it once I found it and fell in love with the app. But the founders had said we wanted to build something that was the closest thing to a teleportation device as anything else that exists. So if you have a beautiful patch of grass in your backyard and you're sitting out there and there's a bird tweeting, someone who's in an urban landscape is going to appreciate that breath of fresh air. So I think if you think of it like that, a teleportation device too, it takes the stress off as well.
That's right. So I'll make one last point as well then.
We're all talkers here.
No, actually, I think we have a current example of it when we had the infamous iOS 9 glitch where you couldn't do whatever. So you guys all know the deal. So I basically said, if it's going to keep freezing, but as long it would stay on one image for a while, and that image would hold, and your audio would be good. And so what I did, I just did it straight up. I took a pink note card, I put it in front of the camera. For the first probably half day, I said, guys, we're just going to do, I think the title was Periscope came out with a new podcasting feature. So, and I basically I just did it as a podcast. And it's amazing. Numbers were the same. Engagement was the same. People said, here's what I said, as long as I know you, I would listen. I said, well, and I said, what if you didn't know me? If you haven't been on my broadcast, you know what? If you're giving good information or if I'm digging what you're saying because I can just put it down and listen. And someone said, this actually helps me because my husband keeps wondering why I keep holding this phone up and watching this black guy with dreads. And so, I can just put my headphones on. So anyway, you don't even have to show your face. You're just show.
I think we've seen the power of Periscope and the growth of the numbers we looked at where Alex said it earlier were incredible. It shows that people are just really looking for that community to join and resonating well with the content that people are putting out there or content that hasn't been put out there yet. So a lot of you in the audience, if there's something that you're wanting to put out there and show your true voice, then absolutely do it. Be encouraged by all these wonderful panelists who have been themselves and shine on camera as themselves. And so I wanted to open it up to a couple questions. We have time for a couple of them. Do you guys have any questions for any of our panelists or anything about how they found their voice through their community?
They want to know if y'all have any pet names for all your friends, your Perry friends. Do you have
Yeah,
any
let's go through. So I know pretty much all of you have one, right?
Yeah. Mine is hashtag Good Vibe Tribe.
Yeah, mine is specific to Periscope, hashtag Perry Pocket Pals or hashtag Love Bug Nation for the whole community.
Mine's Periscope Family.
Ours is Grace Space.
Scott Nation.
So I think we have the other panel coming up, but I can take one more question over here.
So, Scott, how are you deciding who to pick to pass the mic to?
It's really for those who actually, will tweet me earlier in advance through the week, and then a lot of times people just get on and just keep whoever's the loudest in the community. A lot of times will say, "Hey, let so and so go." If enough people in the community say, "Let so and so go," they've been asking for a while, or "Scott, she's great, I know her," or "I know him," and so really, I try to let the community do it, and then we try to get as many as we can in. We'll do it.
Well, thank you. We will probably be around in the back over here afterwards. And thank you to our panelists. Thank you guys for joining us today.